Hi friends. Gouda cheese, or Gouda cheese as we say in the United States, is a very popular cheese that originates from Holland. You see, I know a thing about this cheese. I grew up in Canada and my parents are Dutch immigrants, so we ate this cheese every day. This was the first aged cheese I learned to make, and I can show you how to do that today. Come into my kitchen. Let me show you how to make Gouda cheese. A little milk for yum yum, and the rest for the cheese. Take 3 gallons of pasteurized, unhomogenized whole milk and heat it to 86 degrees. While the milk is heating, add 1 cup of heavy cream. Sprinkle 1/4 teaspoon of mesophilic culture to the top of the milk. Let it rest for 5 minutes. Stir in the culture using a top to bottom stirring motion for 1 minute or until it's mixed through. Next, you'll take a 1/4 cup of non-chlorinated water and you're going to measure that out twice because you'll need it in a minute. Add 3/4 of a teaspoon to it and mix it well. Add the calcium chloride to the milk. And stir for 1 minute. Now we'll do the same thing for the rennet. We'll take 3/4 of a teaspoon of rennet and add it to 1/4 cup of non-chlorinated water. Add it to the milk. And stir for 1 minute. Make sure you don't stir it for longer than a minute because the rennet starts to set up quickly. So we don't want to be stirring as it begins to coagulate. Cover the pot and let it rest. We'll see you in 45 minutes. After 45 minutes, now it's time to check the curd. Take your curd knife and place it into the center of the curd mass. Pull it back and watch for the whey to seep into that cut. And as it begins to seep in, like it's doing right here, that'll tell you it's ready to go. It should have the consistency of kind of a mushy custard. Okay, let's cut this curd. Cut the curd vertically, then horizontally into 1/2-inch cubes. Let the curds rest for 5 minutes. While the curds are resting, take 1 gallon of non-chlorinated water and heat it to 150 degrees. While the water is heating to 150 degrees, take 4 cups of whey and ladle them off, and you'll replace it with 150 degree water. The goal here is to use the water to take your curds up to 92 degrees. Stir the curds for 10 minutes. Allow the curds to rest and settle to the bottom for 10 minutes. Now it's time to wash the curds. Take the remaining whey and bring it all the way down to the level of the curds. Make sure the water is 112 degrees and then use it to replace the whey that was just ladled off. The goal is to get the curds to 98 degrees. Once the curds have reached 98 degrees, stir continuously for 20 minutes. By the end of the stir, your curds should be about the size of peanuts. So if you're wondering why we wash the curd, here's the reason. A Gouda is a sweet and creamy cheese, and by washing the curd and removing most of the whey, we reduce the acidity, and that's what helps the curds become sweeter. Let the curds rest for 5 minutes. Drain the curd into a fine mesh colander or a cheesecloth lined colander. Place the curds into a cheesecloth lined mold. I'm using a 3-pound mold, and I think that should be just about right for 3 gallons of milk. My goal is to produce about a 3-pound cheese. With most cheeses, 1 pound of milk will produce a pound of cheese. Wrap the cheese with a cheesecloth. Place the followers on top. Center it into the press. And press this cheese at 20 pounds for 30 minutes. Remove the cheese from the mold. Yum yum. Redress the cheese with another cheesecloth. Place it back into the mold. Center the cheese evenly into the press. And then press it again at 30 pounds for 12 hours or overnight. Place the cheese into an 18% saturated brine solution. Place a follower on top so that the cheese remains submerged in the brine solution. Brine this cheese for 12 hours, flipping at the 6-hour mark. You can brine it at room temperature. Once the cheese is finished brining, place it on a drying rack and let the cheese dry for 2 to 3 days or until it's dry to the touch. You can flip it every 12 hours. Once the cheese is completely dry to the touch, go ahead and vac seal it and then store it in your cheese cave at 54 degrees for at least 6 weeks, and be sure to flip it at least once every week. And that's it. That's how to make Gouda cheese at home. You can enjoy this cheese at 6 weeks as a young cheese, or you can wait, if you can, all the way up to a year to enjoy it as a more mature cheese. Your choice. If you like what we do and would like to support us, we'd appreciate that. You could buy us a coffee. Check the link in the description box. Thank you so much for watching. Like this video and subscribe to the channel, and we will see you in the next episode.